Welcome to TigerComp Excel 4 Part 2. Part 2 focuses on the idea of what's called VLOOKUP. V standing for vertical, and we're going to use these vertical columns right here, and we're going to look up some data, and it's going to help us to solve our grade right here. So basically, instead of plugging in the grade, having it figure it out ourselves, we're going to have the computer figure out the grade based upon the scale that we just developed on the right side here. So we're going to do this. So to do this, we're going to click in the Jerry Jones I3 box, and then we're going to go to function, and we're going to type in VLOOKUP and click go. Here it comes. And there it is, VLOOKUP. And so we can click that, and you get this nice little table that pops up. And here's where it becomes important to plug in the right numbers here, and getting back to this function arguments because of the different changes that are going to have to be made by the end of this tutorial. Okay? Okay, now that we have this function arguments up here, we need to figure out, okay, what do we want to look up? All right, we want to change this percentage, right? So that would be H3, and we want it to fit into this scale over here. So in this place here, I'm going to put H3 because that's where I want it to look up. And the next thing I need to tell it to do in the table array is, okay, where do I want to find my answer? Where am I searching the data to be able to come up with my grade? All right. And to do that, we're going to have to focus on these columns. We're going to start at K4, and we're going to end at L16. All right? And so you can kind of highlight it like that, all right? Or you can type in K4 colon L16. You can actually type that in yourself, and you can see it's already displaying what's going to happen there. Now, the cool part, what is about to happen is, even though 91.75 is not on our list, Excel is going to read this and say, okay, 91.75%, that is less than 92, and so that means it's going to fit into the B plus range, because what this table says is the lowest number you can get to receive that grade. So 98 is the lowest you can get and still get an A plus. 95 is the lowest you can get and still get an A. 92 is the lowest you can get and still get an A minus. And so by doing that, we can calculate the grades. Now, since we are looking for the grade, we don't want to see that percentage again. And so since we had two columns highlighted, then we need to say exactly where we want the VLOOKUP to pull a value from. So in this case, we want to see the letter grade, so we're saying, okay, look in the second column for that. And you can already see what the results are going to be. And so we click OK, and just like that, Jerry Jones has a B plus. Now, this is kind of where I'm going to leave it up to you to really have you think about what to do next. You're going to take this, and the ideal thing would be to just copy this right down, all right, and use that formula. But you got to think about the difference between a relative copy and an absolute copy. And the final hint I'm going to give you is the money sign, the dollar sign. What do we need to do with that in our formula up here so that this accurately displays the grades that we want it to see by copying that formula? All right. So as I go to grade this, I'm going to be looking for all these different pieces, particularly for Excel 4. I'm going to be looking that you did the correct function for finding percentage, that you have this idea here. I'm going to be looking for this, that it's all formatted correctly. And then finally, I'm going to look that you used VLOOKUP to solve for the grades, that you didn't just plug them in yourselves. So that's Excel 4. As this is kind of the end of the first major unit in Excel, you're going to hand this in for next time, And then next time we're going to go through a test. Basically, I'm going to give you a brand new set of data, and you're going to have to do something very similar to this. Create a graph, a table, excuse me, create a table, change how its appearance looks with the shading and the bordering. You're going to create a graph off of that table, and then create a second little table that uses VLOOKUP to um, transfer some data. So make sure you understand functions, make sure you understand borders and shading, make sure you understand how to do all the different parts of graphs and the VLOOKUP steps for next time when you come for the Excel test number 1. All right, that's the end of Excel 4 part 2.